Music Festival and School, en el Green Mountain Chamber Music Festival, en el Apple Hill Center for Chamber Music y en el Cello Seminar for Music from Salem. Ha sido subdirector de orquestas en Aspen Philharmonic y en Aspen Opera Theater Center. Ha actuado en el Kennedy Center de Washington, D.C., en el Museo de Bellas Artes de Boston, en el Symphony Hall de Boston. En el año 2017 y 2019, William fue invitado como artista joven a actuar en el Music from Salem en Nueva York y recibió una mención de honor en la competencia de conciertos sinfónicos de Brookline. En 2019 fue ganador del concurso de música Lillian Fuchs de la escuela Manhattan School of Music. William ha colaborado con artistas de renombre como la pianista Judith Gordon, la violinista Lynn Chang, la violista Lilia Brown, las sopranos Tony Arnold y Ariana Zuckerman, y los violonchelistas Rhonda Ryder y Andrew Mark. Recientemente, William terminó su maestría en la prestigiosa Escuela de Música Manhattan School of Music como alumno de Philip Muller. Esta tarde tendremos 3 estudiantes de la cátedra de cello de la profesora Elisa Rodríguez. Ellos son David Brandenburg, François Muñoz y Daniel Fuentes. Welcome, William. It's a pleasure for us to have you here today, and thank you very much for your time and your generosity with our students. We're going to start with David. So, welcome, William. Are you ready?
I am ready.
So, David, please go ahead. Por favor, te presentas y nos vas contando qué vas a tocar.
Yeah. Hello, William. My name is David. I'm going to play first movement of Belgrade Concerto. Y hola, mi nombre es David. Voy a tocar el primer movimiento del concierto de Belgrade. ¿Está bien? Sí.
David. Very good.
Oh, no
Very
lo
good.
escucho. Lo escucho muy bajo.
Just curious, how long have you been working on this, on Elgar?
Profe, ¿sabe que yo no lo escucho muy bajo?
Can he hear
William,
me?
sorry, I don't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Okay. I was just asking how long you've been working on Elgar.
From this year?
Okay. I mean, it sounds really good. All I'm going to say are just a few suggestions that I've learned and absorbed while I've learned this piece. But you study with one of my dearest friends, and I'm sure everything that she has told you is, I'm just going to try and add upon that. But anything that I say, take it with a grain of salt. If you don't like it, just forget about it.
Okay.
But I would say the overall structure is very good. You have a good understanding of this movement. This piece is infamously heard in the recording style of Jacqueline Dupre. And so everyone feels it's a bit slower, a bit heavier, a bit highly romanticized, probably more than Elgar even wanted. And so the biggest thing I would say, just the entire movement itself, is just be very aware of the tempos. Do you by chance have a metronome near you?
No sé por qué me silenciaron. Yes, I have a metronome. Here.
So could you just do the first tempo for the opening?
Okay.
Okay. So I only tell you this because the first bar, you're starting Noviembre. It's very strong. This concerto is so different than most other concerti because you start the piece. So you have to come in really strong. And so that's kind of the first thing I would start with, is have a good sense of the tempo, because this is just the opening. And then we get to the meat of the movement, starting at the moderato, bar 9, and that's a completely different tempo. And for my taste, it was a little slow and kind of inhibited the movement. And I think it makes it a little harder for you to play when you do that slower tempo. But we'll get there. The first thing I wanted to say is just the opening. We're cellists. We love the lower register of the cello so much. So we want to sink in to the lower part of the chord, but we have to remember that the line. So I have no qualms with you sitting a little bit longer on the lower notes. Just be aware that we're trying to make a beautiful line, and we need to get all the way to the odd tempo in bar 5. Could you just start again for me?
Okay.
It's good. Just one thing, when you're doing these chords, you have to take into consideration the timing in between the chords. So you can't. You need to shorten the length of time between the two chords. So could you just try that again? A lot better. A lot better. Okay. It's strange. Elgar writes adagio, and in the second bar he writes largamente. I understand, and I feel we should take a little bit of time, stretch it out. But the thing is, it has to be in the notation that it's written. And us cellists, because of the great Jacqueline Dupre, we completely distort the rhythm. And you're doing a pretty good job of the rhythm itself, but it does lose a little bit of the integrity. So could you just start in the second bar and play it a little slower than you would like, or at the tempo you would like, but just make sure that you keep those big 4 beats. Don't try to think in smaller beats. Just keep it flowing. So. Keep going to the fermata. Even there. So. There, at the very end of this, is where you can kind of let the line deflate. This is one of the most dramatic pieces we play as cellists. It's E minor. It's heavy. It's dark. And so, just with the first line in general, just think a little bit more about the shape you're going for. And one more thing about this beginning. It's terrifying. It's not like Dvorak where you wait 3 minutes, and that's equally terrifying because you get cold, you're waiting. This one you have to come out and you have to be this noble ninja. You have to come in really strong, but portray that sorrow and sadness that Elgar is trying to convey in this piece. And I know, as cellists, we're always thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do this chord. I hope this fifth is in tune. Like, I don't want to crunch this too much. Whatever happens, happens. But you need to come out. You're the soloist here. Bring us on this journey. So just compose yourself, and then like really come out really strong. So can you just do the opening one more time? Last time, I promise.
Okay, yes. But I have a question. You told me about this second bar. Do you think I should make it more regular? Because I was not.
I think it's fine to have a little push and pull, but not too much where this duple meter, we have eighth notes and quarter notes in a measure, and a lot of times it turns into triplets. And I think that's the thing I just want people to be aware is we've heard it for so long a certain way, but it's not the rhythm. But the last time you played it, it was quite good. So if you could just do the opening one more time, we'll move on.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a lot of, I've heard so many things, you know, about these 2 bars. Elgar writes ad libitum, and so people say, oh, I can take as much time as I want. But at the same time, Elgar is very specific with what notation he's in the line itself. We have 16th notes, and you do a good, I hear how you're performing and phrasing. What I'm trying to get at is you still have to keep the retard that's coming. and the next bar in mind. So when I teach this piece, I try to keep it a little bit moving, and it's fine if you want to break it up. That's a question to me. You're a little bit unsure.
William, right now, I don't hear you.
Oh, you don't hear me?
Now?
Can you hear me now?
I don't know what happened.
Can everyone else hear me?
Escucha, no le escucho. Soy solo yo.
William, if you can get closer to the microphone, probably. Thank you so much.
Sorry, William.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry. You know, we live in this pandemic age, and it makes everything terrible. So this is just something we have to deal with. So I'm most definitely willing to make some adjustments. What I was just saying is, in this line, I like to keep it moving a bit. And it's kind of think about how the harmony and the line itself, you know, these that's a question to me. And then it's a little bit lacking confidence. And then you have a little more confidence. You're speaking for yourself. And then you're just relaxing a little bit. So in this retard, I think it's better if you keep the momentum going into the retard bar to make the retard more effective, to lead into this gorgeous, eerie melody that makes.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last thing you said. Would you repeat, please?
I was just saying, just make sure that you can emphasize the retard. You don't want to rush through the bar because that retard sets up the melody starting in bar 9.
Okay.
So just make it as organic as possible. Could you just do this whole set pick up to 7?
William, we may need you to go back. I mean, to get out and enter again the link. Maybe it will help. Okay, let's see.
Okay. Igual me parece que tiene súper poca señal, William. Me aparece en rojo.
David, ¿no tienes audífonos? Lo que pasa es que el audio de Will se escucha desde tu audio. Entonces, lo que hace el zoom es mutea un poquito a Will porque suena tu reverberancia.
Claro.
Por eso le tapa un poco el sonido a él.
Okay, can everyone hear me better now? No?
I hear
a little bit better. A little bit better. Thanks. Thank you very much.
All right, David. So could you just start in the pickup to bar 7?
Okay.
it's better. Just think about it. Just think about it a little more. But it's a lot better.
Okay.
Can we start at 2 now? What I'll say here is, could you check the metronome for this tempo?
Okay.
And I think when you play it at that slower tempo, when you get to that sustained B natural in bar 21, you are losing your sound, and because it's so hard to sustain for that long playing that slowly. So if you could just set the metronome at 66, get it in your ear, and could you start again?
Okay. Sorry, from this or okay. Oh. Oh, sorry. It's very faster.
Okay. So it's much more
Yes.
faster than what we're used to.
Yes.
Could you actually do it again? I'm hearing, and it could just be the Zoom audio, I'm hearing a little bit of portato, and I would love for it to go a little bit more smoothly.
Yeah.
So it's especially noticeable when you do the 4 and the 2 in the bar. So when you do the I hear a dee da dee, and I'm like dee da dee da da.
Okay.
It's better now. Right here, this long E. Can you think? So you're coming from. Can you really slowly start that bar? Think about your bow distribution, bow speed, and then you're going to expand.
Okay.
So then it leads you in. It gives you the momentum to get to like a huge moment in bar 27. So
Okay.
could you just try in bar 20?
Yeah, I don't have bars. Would you say the notes?
Right before bar 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Bar 3. It's better. I think you can sustain a little, or slow down
Yes.
a little bit more.
I
But
I went
what you
to.
did was a lot better.
I don't know if sustain all the bar because I have the idea to decrease the sound. You know, not
Yeah,
keep.
no, that's fine. That's actually a really great thing. I think me saying sustain is not the right word. When I say sustain, I'm talking about sustaining that slow speed in the bow.
Okay.
But it is a good thing to think about. I want the orchestra to come out here because they are only pianissimo. So I think the way that you would like to convey would work really well if you think about a slow bow starting in the beginning. Then you can still keep that quote unquote decrescendo, but you need it to grow, to expand, to blossom into you coming back. And that comes from using bow speed in the latter part of the bow. So But no, I agree. I think you should back off a little bit. Let the orchestra come through.
Yeah.
Do you want to start there again, or do you want to move on?
Okay. Are you going
Okay,
to?
it was a lot better. The thing I'll say now is, I think there's a reason why Elgar wrote such a flowing tempo here, is because when we get to square 4, what is written underneath?
Fortissimo sostenuto.
Yeah, and I think we need to really feel that sostenuto. He wants us to just pour our hearts out right here.
Yeah.
So could we start at and just keep it going, and then right before square 4 you can like really expand.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm doing.
It was a lot better. Just don't lose the. Don't make it da da dee. We want to hear that 16th note, but otherwise really good. I just wanted to say I thought the scale going up at Poco Arlagondo was really done well. At square 6, just remember that it's a higher dynamic than how you started in square 2. So you start at piano. This is mezzo forte. So make sure you make a difference. You differentiate when you come back in. The pizzicato, sorry, and right before 7. I know it's the audio quality here, but I think every cellist just needs to be reminded that they have to be played louder because no one will hear them. Everyone will be like, oh, he's doing something different, but I don't hear it. So just make sure you play a little louder.
Okay.
And when we get to this beautiful middle section, really think about like this. First off, the accent. The accent in bar after square 7. Most people, you don't hear it. You hear, and you can do it a lot of different ways. You can go like, or you can go just left hand. You can do a little bow speed. Just make sure like you pay quite a lot of attention to the detail in this piece. There's so much, and we're so used to playing it a certain way. But there's so every single time you're going to play this piece, you're going to hear so much more. I will say, going into the major section, make the audience be like, oh, this is different. You know, I don't expect this at all. So
Yeah.
what's happening? Oh. Like really like expand, it's beautiful. It's and the thing to think about, you know, when we have any sustained marking, so anything with a dotted quarter that's tied over, we have to remember the Sicilian rhythm underneath, so that because if not, we as cellists, we love making everything so beautiful, making it about ourselves. but this you can't do it because then the whole integrity of the piece will fall apart. Otherwise, I thought this section was really good. A little technical thing I would say is, this section, there's huge shifts everywhere. You're doing a really good job of not emphasizing every shift, a big romantic slide. At least I can't hear it.
I mean, I want to do it different because there are a lot of scales and all that, so I don't want to make it all the same.
Exactly. In square 10, the bar before square 10, so you have use this C sharp in square 10 to really like expand. I think there's a hidden crescendo there because that'll give you the momentum of this poco stringendo. Another thing, when you get to these sextuplets at the end of we always want to slow down because it's just hard. It is hard, but I think he's very specific. He wants us to go, and then we get to the retard.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're almost out of time. One last thing I would say is when you get to the ending again, when you get this final lament from the cello, make it the most breathtakingly eerie whisper that still carries. I know it sounds like they cancel each other out, but you need to be like a fog. Because we have the intense opening to the second movement coming, and you just want to set up this despair. And otherwise, really, really good job. I think it's a great piece for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you to you. Thank you very much.
Gracias, David. Thank you, Will. Now we will continue with Daniel. He's playing Hiding D. People are clapping here. Good job. Okay.
Do you hear me?
Great. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm going to play the first movement of the Haydn Cello Concerto in D Major. Hola, mi nombre es Daniel y voy a tocar el primer movimiento del concierto de Haydn en Re mayor.
Oh, no cadenza? No, it's very, very good. Yes, very good. I have to admit, I've never fully worked on this piece, so I'm not going to play any of it per se. I'll play sections probably, but very, very good.
Oh, thank you.
You have amazing technique. And do you teach?
I have teach some students privately for about 2 years.
Okay. Well, all I will say is you're gorgeously set up. You have a very beautiful bow arm. I'll talk about a little bit of about your bow arm, but left hand is very structured. So if I feel like your students are very lucky, and you also have an amazing professor. So anyway, let's dive into this piece a little bit.
Okay.
It's an easy piece, right?
Easy?
What I'm trying to get at is, because this piece is so insanely difficult, you know, you have this opening, standard classical concerto opening, and I guess if you're sitting on stage with orchestra, there's no doubt that you're gonna cool off a little bit while you're sitting there. And so why I'm asking this is, do you have anything that you think about before you start playing? Is there any color or an image, or I hope you're not thinking anything technical before you come in. Just like get yourself in the right mindset. So do you have any of those ideas going on before you come in?
Not an idea, but I try to find an emotion.
Okay, good.
Before.
Can you describe what kind of emotion you're going for or looking for?
Before start, I try to find peace.
Okay.
Inside.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. What I'm trying to get at is, you have such a long journey ahead of you. And a lot of it is this, you have to reach a balance between the incredible technical virtuosity and precision, along with creating an atmosphere that really brings this piece together. And you're doing a really, really great job. The thing that was really striking about your playing that I love is you have this very sweet suppleness to your playing. It's a gorgeous sound to listen to. And I kind of just, all the comments that I'm going to talk and say are just going to try and, you know, magnify that beautiful sound, that sweet, gorgeous sound, because I think it's perfect for this piece. The only thing I'm missing a little bit throughout the entire movement is I want a little bit more confidence. And I only say because, I mean, you have the technique, you can play so very well. this piece, if you don't have the confidence, it's hard. It's a little bit hard to convey the right emotion and atmosphere that comes with this piece. And so D major is like this gorgeous, you know, regal. For me, I find this piece very pastoral, where I'm honestly, I'm seeing cows and sheep on a field, you know, with the sun coming up. And I kind of want you, when you come in, it's like, you know, it's just glorious, but refined, and you have the refinedness. Can you show me that confidence when you come in, where it needs to be a little bit more of a big gesture, but I'm not saying it needs to be loud, and I don't want you to come in sounding like a Ferrari, you know. I'm just looking for a little bit more confidence. So can you start the beginning again?
Okay, yes.
Okay, Danielle, it's really good. Can you try something for me? Well, first off, can I ask, are you playing with your eyes closed, or are you looking at your fingerboard?
I'm looking, yes.
Okay. This piece, can you try this for me? Can you get it in your mind? This, and I want you to pick somewhere on the wall in front of you, and keep your eyes up, keep your upper body open, because if you do this, it's going to make your sound resonate more, it's going to project more, and I think that's something I'm missing a little bit. So could you try that for me? No, don't worry, whatever happens. If you miss it, you miss it. Just go for it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna say, you know, I'm hearing you over voice audio. I'm thousands of miles away, but you know what? I heard the difference. And I think if you can implement that in your playing, another thing I'll say, and it's something that you can do while you're playing, you have to be a little discreet about it, or you can do it in your practice room. A really fantastic cellist, Nina Lee, she's part of the Brentano String Quartet. They're in residence at Yale. Absolutely amazing, quirky cellist. I worked with her for a few summers, and she told me, she's like, Will, you have so much to bring to the music, yet you're so stuck inside. And she said, on top of looking up, she said, Will, do you like to sing? And I said, I do in the shower, but nowhere else. And she's like, well, too bad. I want you to sing a little bit. And I'm not going to make you sing today. What I'm going to show you is, when you're playing this opening, don't be afraid to like sing along with it, and really, so you can release some of that nervous energy that's stuck in your chest.
Okay.
Because you want that nervous energy to be in your core, you know, where it can sink a little bit. And so on top of like getting your shoulders are like, I'm not singing in tune for sure. I don't even know what pitches or what syllables I'm singing, but I'm getting that energy out of my chest, you know? And so I think that's something to think about, because it'll also help you really think about the momentum. Because you do get a little bit stuck with phrasing. That's one thing I would say overall is think longer line. I'm missing that a little bit. But all right, let's get into this piece. The thing that I was missing is like a lot of it is really gorgeous. Don't get too stuck in your 64 and 30-second notes. Really keep it going. I thought the stroke itself is good. There's one thing that I want you to think about technique-wise is just your bow arm.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of raised elbow, a little bit raised shoulder, and I think that's going to tire you out if you go and play this whole concerto or any piece that's 20, 30, 40 minutes long. So just be aware. I think if you can think about like really lowering the elbow a little bit more. I know you have the cello up a bit higher. Can I ask how tall you are? Are you 188, 189?
170, 75.
Okay. I think you're this really stately guy. You know, you remind me a lot of myself. Like, we have a lot of power that we need to utilize, and I think you sacrifice a little of that beauty when you like have it raised a little bit on top of just having tension. So that's just something to think about. You know, lowering, really sinking in, using your body a little bit more. And what I'm saying this for is when we get to a section in a bit, it plays a huge important role. And everything up to that point was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it was very good. So do you have bar numbers?
Yeah.
Can we go to bar 50?
50.
So, sorry, I never played this piece. Right there.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a lot better than when you first played it through. I mean, of course, you're nervous, you know, it's
Yeah.
what I was missing the first time through. I missed that warmth. You know, there's not a lot that we get to play in this first movement that's on the lower strings, you know, where we can feel a little bit more comfortable. And when you get that time, you know, it kind of feels like a hug, like a warm embrace. And I think I would love that more. And that really comes from sinking in with your elbow, really having a supple thumb on your right hand so it can absorb all the bow changes. And just now you played it really well. The one thing that I think you should think up a little bit more about technique-wise, even more than what I've said about your arm placement, is where the bow hits the string. For me, it's a little bit too close all the time to the fingerboard, and I think you lose the ability, which it does help with that sweet tone that you're conveying, and it's lovely. But if you're in a concert hall or a larger recital hall, you're going to need to sink in a little bit more. And right now I'm seeing it's just a little bit too close to the fingerboard. So could you do this passage again and really think slightly lower contact point?
Okay.
It's already so much better. Can you do one more thing? Can you look up?
Yeah.
It's already like improved and from my perspective a great deal. So again, it's kind of like what I said to David. Everything that I say, take with a grain of salt. If you enjoy it, I'm glad. If not, like, thank you for listening to me. So now, when we get to the tenths, yeah, they're just hard. And I think it's kind of, you just have to let it go. And right now I can hear you thinking, okay, I gotta get this large of hand structure, and oh, I'm not there yet. And no matter what happens, I think if you just keep thinking like, keep it going. I know you're probably already thinking, oh, this is the pitch I need to go to next. But if you miss it a little bit, don't let it overwhelm you. Just quickly recover. And you did that for the most part. But as an audience member listening to you, no player should ever have an audience member say, oh, I heard that it sounded a little hard there. You know, like,
Okay.
there's just, we're all going to deal with that for the rest of our lives. So with the tense, just relax, just go for it, no matter what happens.
Okay.
Then when you get to the thirds and the double stops right after that, keep it moving. Right now, it got a little stuck, and I think that just adds to the stress of it all. You don't want to think about all the technical stuff going on. So if you just keep it moving, I think that would help a lot.
Okay.
Let me just see here. Okay, when we get to the development, can you start in 92? And I really want you to take us to this other world where we're about to go into like this stormy area of the piece. And I want you to take us on that journey and set up bar 98 really, really well. I don't want to tell you how to do it. So maybe just think about like, what can you do when you get there?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot better. I think just like in general, I kind of said this earlier, I lose a bit of the momentum of the piece. And I think that really affects this like really brooding section of the music. And so like, I'm singing like completely different pitches, but when you get to use these double notes, anything that's always repeated, they should never be the same. And there's a lot of that in this piece. And even though, you know, you only have two Gs, A, G, G, they need to go. Take me to that F sharp. Take me to that D sharp. That really sets it up. And then when you get to this 16th note triplets, just keep it like, it doesn't need to be loud, but it needs to have that like nervous energy. And I'm missing that a little bit. But continuing on, just because we're running really short on time, bravo on the 30-second notes. Infamously hard, you did really, really well. So again, when you get to bar 115 with the just keep it moving.
Okay.
Because I mean, we're still going until we need to get back, and just you don't want to slow down all the time. One last thing before we wrap this up is in bar, I'm skipping forward a little bit.
Okay.
You know, when we get to our little third scale exercise in bar 169 and 171.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you don't play them the same way. I know it's a really small detail, but you took the exact same amount of time for each one.
Okay.
And just figure out which one is more important, because then you have in 173 a continuation of the thirds going up. So you don't want to just think overall line. I think just
Okay.
overall for the entire piece. But
Okay.
really, bravo. It sounds amazing. You did a fantastic job. And
Thank you.
just remember, head up.
Okay.
And think about your contact point a little bit. But everything else it was really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can't hear.
Thank you, Will. Yes, now we're going to continue with Francois.
Okay.
Francois, there she is. I'm going to mute myself. Thank you.
I see. Hi, Professor William. Hi, everyone. My name is Francois, and I'm going to play the first movement of Violonchelo Concerto in C major. Hola a todos, mi nombre es François y voy a tocar el primer movimiento del concierto en Do mayor de Haydn.
Bravo. Bravo.
Sorry, I'm nervous.
Oh no, it sounded great. It sounded very good. Bravo, Francois. You didn't sound nervous, so that's a good quality to have. You know, you have this very warm, robust tone, which is you have this confidence actually when you were playing this that I had no idea that you were nervous. So bravo on that. Just a few things. just one little technical thing that I would mention is be really aware of your bow arm and the contact point that you have. Because when you go into the upper registers of the instrument, you know that the string length is shortened, and when you do that, you're not allowing the strings to ring. And if you really, I would suggest sitting in front of a mirror, just being really aware where your bow is, especially when you go out, you are actually contorting your arm and pulling it up. And so many of us struggle with that. And so if you just spend 5-10 minutes a day just sitting in front of the mirror, really like slow bows, just examining exactly where you are on the cello. I don't know if you can see me or not, but like you just want to think, for some people you need to go a little push out, a little bit more. For some, you know, if your arm is longer, you don't have to do so much. So it really depends on like your body structure. And 5 to 10 minutes a day for 2 weeks, I think is going to make a tremendous difference. Because there were some intonation issues when you went higher, but the thing is, I don't think there necessarily were intonation issues. I think it's just the placement of the bow affected the intonation. So we'll get to it, one of those spots. Maybe, I mean, the cadenza was fantastic. Maybe we could do some spots just in the piece, but can you just start the beginning and really think, this is C major. This is like very proud, pompous, a very proud and pompous key. And so can you continue a line of leading us through this journey? Because I mean, you know, we had 21 bars of an entrance, you know, and you just let it out in the first 2 bars, and the first bar especially, but don't play every note the same way. Especially, so these dotted 16th, 32nd, play it really slowly in practice time and think, okay, the C to the D to the E to the F, they have to be slightly longer each time, because you're going on a, you don't want to lose that momentum and you don't want to lose direction. So could you just start again playing from the opening?
Yeah.
So just the opening itself. So like, really get back to the frog, and that you just have to think bow distribution, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at, is don't play all of them the same length, because you have to get back to the frog. Because what I mean, in my edition, there's a caret accent on the F. So you need to get back to the frog so you can be really proud. So could you just try again? Right here, it was a lot better. I think you could explore a little bit more, just practicing slowly, seeing how you get back to the frog, but the character and the momentum and the direction was a lot better. When you get to these chords, so think about which ones are more important, which ones are less important, because essentially you're trying to get down to back to the downbeat of the following measure. And if it were me, my suggestion would be not to play them all the same way. Think of maybe, or some of them as questions and more of like statements, and it's really up to you. Like, you can frame it the way you want to. So could you just start the beginning again? you know, you did something different, and that's exactly what I was asking for, you know. And you could be like, oh, I don't like that so much, but you know, that's the beauty of being a musician and figuring out our identity, is figuring, like, just practice and error. And it's kind of like Thomas Edison, the man who figured out or invented the light bulb. I mean, he found 10,000 reasons or 10,000 ways that didn't work, but he found that one way that did. And I think that's can imply to us musicians so much. So bravo, a lot better. Right here where you just stop. So sorry. Are you starting down bow or up bow on that G?
Down bow.
Okay. Just for me, could you start that up bow, and could you slur in the 16th notes afterward? I think it really just sets up the character of, you know, you've set up this glorious opening. Make us feel this delicacy in the music. So could you just try those two chords and then go into the piano? Just going back a little bit, I know we're going to be running out of time here soon. You did a really nice color change when but don't start the color change before that point. I mean, in the music, there's a clear comma, so he wants to separate the difference, and he wants you to finish like. So don't make the last chord too delicate. Going on to this section right after. Those D's, there's something so beautiful about those D's. They're all the same note, but everyone has to play so differently because it's setting up the emotion, the momentum to get through the exposition. So could you just start right there, maybe at the mi, fa, sol, sol. No, it's so difficult. You're doing really well. Like every cellist struggles with this, no matter what age you are. Even the greatest will go back and be like, what am I doing? So don't worry. The one thing I will say, just in these technical fast passages, I believe your bow is a little quicker than your left hand. And so just go through really slowly. And like, I like to think of putting a little point on each of the 16th notes. And then, you know, you go through again and you do different rhythms and you know, just make sure it's solidified at the slowest possible level. Because once you do that, that makes all the difference when you play faster. I think that's the biggest advice that and learning tool that I've received from any of my teachers is if you can play it so well slowly and you've mastered it at the slowest possible level in different rhythms, when you go to play it fast, it'll be so easy, and at that point you don't have to think about the technical difficulty. You can actually really focus on the music making, and don't let these passages get in the way, because Francois, you have something really beautiful to say in your playing. And so I think you need to, if you just go back, do stuff slowly, it'll help 10, 15 times, 100 times more, you know. Going on, just to make up we're running out of time. When we get to the saltando and the development, it's a difficult stroke, and I think if we think, when I teach this, I try to think, let the first finger shape the bowing, but it all comes from the upper arm. You know, so I like to think, I feel the scoop and the push with my first finger, but when I'm making the gesture itself, to get it off the string, get this ricochet saltando bow stroke, it all comes from the upper arm. And right now, I see what's happening for me, I feel, in your playing is you have a very stiff wrist. And the only way that you can get this to work really well is have a really loose wrist, so the upper arm can control and the wrist reacts to the upper arm. So could you just try this? It's already a lot better. I feel it's a little, it gets stuck here. So really think like, really feel your thumb and your wrist react. Get that in your mind first, and then go back slowly and go. Then feel it come from here, and all of this will react with your upper arm, and it'll be so much easier. So could you just try it really slowly? No, it's in the right direction. So I think if you just think about it a little bit slower, kind of like, you know, in the fast passages, it's just getting it in your ear a little bit more and really analyzing every part of your body, how each one works with each other. Let me just see here. Let me see. Everything was pretty good. Getting back. Yeah. Could you just start the cadenza again?
Yes, okay.
So it's It's really good. Can you, you just finished this really amazing first movement, and the orchestra just led into your cadenza. And can you just describe what you're trying to convey? Because the cadenza you played is a journey. It is very long. It is very detailed. It's very virtuosic. And so I want to ask, like, how are you thinking of this start? Are you thinking exactly how you played the beginning, or are you looking for something more delicate and sweet?
Yes, I think that I am looking for something more sweet.
Okay.
And then is the action. It's like go to the action.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think when you come in, I would say think of like the sweetest chocolate. Like it's nice and creamy. I think if you can get that sense, you don't want to come in too loud because you have 4 minutes to go. Do you like hot chocolate?
Yes.
Okay. When you take that first sip and it's nice and rich and creamy, can you think that's how you place the bow on the string? And when you pull the sound, it's just like, when you play, you want the audience to go like, oh, yeah, Can you do that for us?
Yeah.
Okay. Francois, it was so much better. I felt the way that you wanted to portray this opening, and when you get to the triplets, you don't, in my opinion, you don't have to play them the same way as you did in the development itself, because like make it, when you play them in the development, it's an extroverted moment in the concerto, and I think you can be a little delicate here. Make it more introverted. Make it about yourself. It's your cadenza. You can ebb and flow, give and take a little bit more, and emotionally, just remember the journey that you're on, because you still have a long way to go in this cadenza. So could you just try it one more time from try the opening? And the one thing I would just say is the first chord of the cadenza. Just really think, I know it's hard to put you on the spot right now, but like when you go back to the practice room and think, like really think, oh, like how do I get this hot chocolate to come through in my playing, or how do I, if you want to go even less, with less imagery, a little like, what do I have to do to just get that warmth in the chord? So if you just take 2 seconds, because we're out of time, just to think, how can I start this cadenza the way that you want to? Already so much better. The last thing I'll say is, the double stops coming down. I really think you have it. Just really go back slowly and think about your bow placement on the string, because I think it's a bit too high, and when it's too high, you don't allow the string to ring, and so it squeaks a little bit. And because I think you definitely have the pitches. It's just really think about the details with your bow arm. But otherwise, it was such a lovely time hearing you. You played so well, and really really a pleasure to listen to you play today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, William, for your time, to generosity. We have a few questions for you. We have the first one from Daniel. He would like to know your opinion on practicing scales, because some teachers recommend to practice those scales every day. What do you think?
It's a tricky question. I think it really just depends on the type of player you are. I grew up having teachers who always emphasize scales. For my undergrad, my pre-college and undergrad years, it was definitely, okay, you have to come into a lesson every week with a different scale and arpeggios ready to go. And then when I went to Boston for graduate studies, I never had to do any of that. Because, I mean, that's just not something my teacher, she definitely advised we do scales, but it wasn't a requirement. And then when I went to Manhattan School to do my master's with Philippe Muller, he is a technical genius. And I asked him, he said, Will, you have so much in your playing to say, but I need a little more technical accuracy from you. And I said, okay, what kind of scales? And he said, I don't care. Just do whatever scales you want to. And so, you know, that for me was the moment where, for me, so Danielle, to answer your question, yes. Scales, I would say practice scales every day. I try to do scales 45 to 60 minutes a day. It's really important. But yes, you can also, like even this Haydn, the Haydn, both concerti had scalar passages, so you could just do those if you want, but change it up, put third, sixth octaves, whatever you need to do, whatever you want to work on, but definitely give your time to your scales. It'll always pay off in the end, so.
Thank you. We have another question from Joaquin. He's asking about your posture and if you suffer from neck pain. Sometimes.
Yeah, you know, I'm a very tall person, very wide shoulder. I've always struggled with my posture just because I grew up in a time, you know, when cello chairs didn't exist, and, you know, so you had to conform yourself to the environment that you were in and the material. And so it was a struggle. And yes, to answer your question, I did and sometimes still do have posture issues, but buying these posture pegs, getting rid of the G peg and the C peg literally changed my life, because I used to play like this all the time, and now I can, you know, sit straight the way that I want to. It allows me to play a lot more comfortable, but that doesn't mean I don't have posture issues still. So I wish you could see my posture a little better. Hopefully it's not being conveyed that I have terrible posture, but yeah, I think it's just make sure that you have the right equipment if you're having posture issues, you know. Make sure your cello is at the right angle, right height. Yeah, just also the chair, have the right chair, so.
Okay, thank you. Danielle also asks, how do you prefer the day before a concert to be at your 100% on stage?
The day before a concert, my philosophy is you can't really learn much the day before a concert. You can definitely play things through very slowly. I wouldn't play the whole piece. Just find those passages, you know, I'm having a little difficulty with. So I go through very slowly. I work them through, still do some rhythms and such. I might play 1 or 2 passages just to make sure they're up to tempo. But the day before, I really try to enjoy myself, because there's no point in stressing over a concert the next day. Because if you wake up that morning with the stress of the day before, it will affect your concert. And so that's just my advice is, you know, do the work that you need to do, but don't try to enjoy the evening as much as possible the day before, so.
Okay, thank you. There's another question. I'm not a cellist, I'm a pianist, so I don't know if I will I'm going to try to translate. Simone is asking, what exercises do you recommend to move the fingers of the right hand? I let
okay.
them very still and give the full responsibility to the hand and the arm.
Okay.
To make changes of the bow and string direction, and if I try to move them, the hand disarm or something like that. So you know what?
Yeah, no, I would say the most important thing that I learned for bow technique is our two methodologies. One is Foyard. So the Louis Foyard numbers 32 through 36 of his daily exercise book. My pre-college and undergrad teacher burned it into my brain, to go through everything very detailed. Take the time to really think about how each exercise employs different attributes in your playing, And the other one is something that I learned with my professor in Boston, which was the Sebchek 40 variations. I was lucky enough to study with someone who probably has the best bow arm in the business. Rhonda Ryder literally changed my life. And she drilled it into Elisa and I to use these exercises, find the right tempi, find exactly how and what part of the arm, how the upper arm relates to the wrist and the lower arm and the fingers, and really, really life-changing. So those two exercises and methodology books are what I would.
Will, I still have the part you gave me, and I started doing Sepsic after you gave me the copy.
Good. Can I have it back? No, I'm joking.
And the last question from Eduardo. How do you study vibrato in the higher notes?
Vibrato in the higher notes. I mean, I'm notorious for having wide vibrato. So for me, I can get a bit out of control if I really don't think about it when I'm in the upper registers. And honestly, I don't think you need to really think of anything different than here, other than your hand placement. You want to still, I generate my vibrato from my upper arm and it's very similar to the right arm. This is all reactionary. But the key when you work in the upper registers, have a tuner, a very precise tuner nearby, right in front of you, because you do it very slowly. So you get the oscillations, you see how far you can bend the pitch before you go over the pitch, because you don't want to go over and under the pitch too much. If you do, then it becomes a little bit unrecognizable what you're playing. And so that will determine your width. Think about how far you can go here between the interval, and think how small you have to go here. And that to me is only like a 5-10 minute exercise a day. So I hope that answer helped, but are there any more questions or?
No, we don't have more questions, I guess. Thank you very much, William.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Will.
Your master class. And thank you so much to the students, to Professora Elisa, for bringing such a good and nice students. And this is the last masterclass of the 2020. So after 12, we had 12 classes, right? Yes. And thank you very much, Will. I mean, I hope we will have you here in Santiago one day, hopefully.
I would love to come. This has been such a wonderful experience for me, and hopefully we can all meet in person one day. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
You have no idea. I lived in New York for 18 years, so you have no idea how much I miss New York. And MSM, it was my home. Yeah.
Yeah, so. No, you should, hopefully when this pandemic is under control, we can all be together and make music again. But luckily today has been such a warm treat for me. So thank you again for the invite.
Thank you very much for your generosity and your time. And thank you, Elisa, for bringing William and for giving the possibility to our students to have a teacher like him with us.
Yes,
okay?
He's one of the best I know, so.
Yes.
So
thank you, Will.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, David and Francois. And see you next year with our next master classes. We don't know if it's going to be in person or, well, Zoom master classes. So good luck to all of you, and see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.